racing now.
I wish I win from last. A spectacular TJ win. Giga kick down the outside, wins the Everest. Shinzo and Ryan Moore have drawn clear to win the Golden Slipper.
With Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook, this is Racing Dreams.
Wow, what a huge day it is. It is our penultimate Racing Dreams. It's a Golden Eagle special, Julie.
It is indeed, Timmy. Good morning to you. It's all about a touch of gold today as Rosehill Gardens comes alive for the $10 million feature race out there. It's going to be a brilliant day of racing. It's going to be a brilliant show too. Check it out. Golden Eagle Day, so we are heading live to Rosehill Gardens ahead of the $10 million feature.
Racing legend Ken Callender pops by and we get his thoughts on the Eagle, which is now getting huge attention. We also wind the clock back a little.
Oh, lovely. And the wonderful charity angle of the Golden Eagle as well. The personal mission inspiring rugby league legend, Ricky Stewart.
It's all to come, but Western Sydney, it's where I grew up, comes alive today for the second richest race in the $10 million Golden Eagle.
The ATC's Brett Devine joins us now. Good morning to you, Mr. Devine. A nice touch of gold for the Golden Eagle today.
Beautiful good morning to you, Julie and Tim, and to all the punters and listeners out there. And well, we're welcoming the world to Western Sydney here today. Western Sydney's time to have what might be like their Tab Everest. We've seen some amazing scenes at Royal Randwick, and today, well, it's on here. One of the biggest parties Western Sydney will throw on, and what a race we have. Dare I say it, I think this is the race of the carnival, and as I say, the eyes of the world will be watching.
Absolutely. When you say the eyes of the world, we have some of the talent from all over the world. Last year we had a Japanese runner win this race. It's a race just for 4-year-olds, and it does get some real interest. William Haggis has a runner.
Yeah, he does. William Haggis, of course, has had great success here in Sydney with his runners, and that's always been in the autumn. So now that's grown into the spring. He's got Lake Forest in the race today to be ridden by top jockey Kieran Fallon from overseas. There's two Japanese horses, as you've touched on, Tim, who they won the race last year, the Japanese. Well, these horses, particularly Ascoli Pacino, the favourite, he got even greater form than Obemburamai from last year. And a horse called Lazat has had 6 starts for 6 wins, including Group 1s in France. So you can see there's a smattering there of really, really top-class horses and from across all different parts of the world. And, of course, they're taking on our great 4-year-olds here, a big field of 20 runners, and what a spectacle that will be when they jump from that 1,500 metres later, the Savo and the James Squire Golden Eagle.
Yeah, you say it could be the race of the carnival, rightly so, 20 in this field. Tell us about the track and the conditions out there today, Brett.
Yeah, well, they're absolutely ideal, Julie. The track's rated a good 4. It's quite overcast, but not the prospect of too much rain today, which is great. And the other thing is it's kept it nice and mild, so that's going to make it a really comfortable and relaxing day for the horses, but also for all the punters that are coming out here. So the track's a good 4 in amazing, immaculate condition from Sean Patterson and his team. It will race really, really well with that rail in the true position. The day's set up for something really spectacular, and we've got a lot going on here on course. And the other thing I just wanted to mention too, I know you're touching on it later in the show, is the charity element. People from around the country and around the world will see that $1 million of the prize money, a $10 million race, is dedicated to charities. So the winning owners today will have a life-changing moment, but so will a charity and the people that benefit from it with a $525,000 cheque going to one. So on all levels, this is one of the great race days we hold in Sydney. It's growing bigger and bigger each year, and everyone's going to see a spectacular afternoon.
And one of those charities is the Ricky Stewart Foundation, of course, linked with autism. He has his own personal experience, and we're going to hear from him on the program today. But if people are mapping out their day and they haven't got any plans yet, they should come out to Rosehill Gardens, the heart of the West. So easy to get to, and it'll be a cracking day.
Yeah, it absolutely will be, Tim. And anybody that buys a ticket through our website, theraces.com.au, if you're an ATC member and you still think you're coming out, well, public transport's all included in that ticket. So you can jump on a train, you can jump on a bus, you can jump on the ferry. And I wanted to say we've got some extra services running up from the harbour up to the Parramatta River. So what a way to see all parts of Sydney. You could leave Circular Quay, come up the river or jump on one of the ferries at the stops along the way. You get a bus then direct straight to the course, all included. So there's no excuse not to get on a bit of public transport or drive out here and get amongst what is going to be, as I say, one of the biggest parties Western Sydney's seen. And after the last race, Alex Kay will all be doing a few moves with him as well, Tim. I know you're good on the dance floor.
Well, I am heading straight out there after the program, but I think it'll be a few meat pies and watching the music from afar. But yeah, you and I move about the same pace.
Tim is also good. With all due respect, the food festival atmosphere that will be happening trackside as well, Brett. It is a day for all the family. I've done the ferry out there. It's such a great way to get there. But I want to quickly ask you about the Russell Balding Stakes as well. We've got the reigning Everest champ in Bella Nipotina out there chasing this Sydney Sprint bonus. Yeah,
what another great part of this program to see Bella Nipotina, one of the iron horses of Australian racing. She is just phenomenal. Of course, she won the Tab Everest a couple of weeks ago, and she's got a couple of others that are coming through that race as well, in Sunshine in Paris and I Am Me. But this is the Russell Balding Stakes, which is a $3 million sprint for some Tab Everest horses that can also earn a bit of a bonus as well. It just adds an extra bit of excitement to the day. Bella Nipotina, of course, is the favourite, and she's a favourite amongst punters. She never runs a bad race, so what an entree that race will be before the James Squire Golden Eagle.
Yeah, great to see Russell Balding being honoured, of course, former chairman of Racing New South Wales. Good man and a cracking race, as a lot of them will be today at Rosehill Gardens. Look, I'm going to see you out there for a couple of meat pies and cold libation, my dear friend. It's going to be some kind of day at Rosehill Gardens.
Yeah, well, the food festival's been put on probably because they heard you were coming too, Tim. They wanted to make sure there was a few extra options for everybody. But look, food trucks galore across here, spread out across the lawns, not only all the way down the home straight as well. So everybody will be spoiled for choice out here. If you're sitting at home and you're thinking about what can I do this afternoon, come on out to Rosehill Gardens. You're going to have a wonderful day.
Well said, Brett Devine. Lovely to see you. All the best to you and the team today.
Thanks to you, Julie and Tim, and the support of Racing Dreams, and good luck to all the punters.
Thank you, buddy.
I can hear your chopper circling Rosehill, just
chopper,
waiting to
please.
swoop on in, pick you up and take you back out.
Like a Holden Commodore.
Well, of course, horse trainers in 2024, they're very inventive when it comes to preparing their athletes, because that's exactly what these thoroughbreds are. They are athletes.
Absolutely, Jules. Many like going for a dip in the ocean. I went along with Gary Portelli as he took a few of his horses down to the beach, including his two hopefuls in today's massive Golden Eagle, NCAP and Kintyre. Take a look.
Salt water, cold water is always good for horses' legs. They do a lot of miles during the week, and that'll obviously cool down any changes and whatever they have from the stress of galloping. So that's the first thing. A trip away from home, you get out here in this beautiful environment, you know, and desensitisers them a lot too. You see all the planes taking off everywhere. Big race days, not such a big thing anymore. You know, you've got helicopters around the top of them, taking off out the barriers. All these sort of things they have to endure on race day. They see it here at the beach and basically get the races and they go to sleep as easy. But just we don't do a real lot of exercise, so to speak, in the water. We just do a nice, easy walk through the water. It's more just a mental thing, and you know, good for our riders as well. They like to get out here and have a bit of fun too.
Yeah, that's a perfect thing, isn't it? The additive, you not only get the water, but you also get all the noise, which is a big thing, isn't it, for people that don't know horses or horse racing. They can be quite flighty.
On race day, that you need them to be at their best on the race day. And if they get to the track and they can't handle the crowd and the noise and the helicopters and things like that going round, the ability to win the race just diminishes. And you know, as a trainer, you see that horse starting to tremble and get nervous and get sweaty and hot, and you know that he's not going to give 100%. And our job is to make sure that for our owners and the punters that the horse turns up on race day and runs up to its form. So these little tricks that we used, you know, and I'm not the only one, everyone seems to be able to be doing these days, get him out, especially in these beautiful warm days, and it just does the horses, you know, it's therapeutic for them. So, you know, it works wonders in a lot of ways.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Golden Eagle today. NCAP, each way odds, 15, 17 to 1. It's been fluctuating. Good gate.
massive help in getting that barrier 1, I'm sure. You know, he can be wherever he wants to be. When you draw wide barriers, you're dictated to by whatever everyone inside is going to do. So Collett's got a perfect opportunity to just rail up and just keep following the rails, and hopefully when we get to the 600, the race starts to change complexion. You find the real good horses start to make their way through the fields and look for gaps, etc. Hopefully he's one of them horses. He's been aimed at this race and he's had a perfect preparation for it. So barrier 1 is certainly going to be a big positive on the day.
Kintyre's at long odds, but this horse never runs a bad race.
Yeah, look, he's a handy horse. He's won a Queensland Guineas. He's been placed in some of the race around Tom Kitten, etc. He hasn't raced that well his last 2 starts, but we're hoping to bounce back. This, again, was a race that he's been aimed at. And as we were talking about earlier off camera, the prize money, it's 120,000 to run 8th and 100,000 to run 9th, you know, so he never runs them numbers. He's always got a 4 or a 3 or, you know, a 1 next to his name. So if he turns up on the weekend and has any luck from barrier 3, don't discount him at 100 to 1. Have him some in your multiples, because one thing he doesn't lack is a big heart. And if there's any scrimmaging going on and horses are getting trapped wide, the favourite's drawn awful and drawn 19, the Japanese horse, you know, things can go wrong in races and big fields. And from barrier 3, if he can keep out of trouble, as I said, he's never far away from the action. So if he doesn't run the top 3, he's at least going to be hopefully getting a big paycheck for the day.
Yeah, it'll be a great race. The other thing I really love here is you've got young staff, and we talk often, don't we, about how many people this industry employs. This is great for them. They'd love it, wouldn't they?
Oh, for sure. These guys have been up since 4 o'clock this morning, and they all put their hand up to want to come to the beach of a morning, you know. So they won't get home till lunchtime, and then the afternoon shift will start. So it's a passion. They love it. This is not something I tell them, this is what you're doing. This is, they put their hand up and ask me, can they come? And you know, that's a great thing for everyone. It just refreshes everybody.
Absolutely. In the Sydney Spring, it's far from over. We've got the Golden Eagle, then we've got the big dance on Tuesday. Gives a lot of regional and rural trainers and people involved in the industry a real chance at showtime. And you're a country boy. Yeah,
look, I wish these incentives were around when I was training up in the country, you know. I might not have come down. But it gives the country folk a chance to come down and showcase their ability. There's so many good trainers up in the country, you know. They don't get an opportunity to get down here very often. And now that they've got these highway races, etc., you know, they get out they can show their ability as a horse trainer, and you know, they don't want to live in the city, they want to train in the city, but they're just as good as anyone, you know, given the right horse. So they get a chance to showcase what they love to do as well, and it's great for everybody.
Orco home to the Golden Eagle. It is time to go around the tracks with Julie, and some big stories this week. A new world #1 in racing.
That's right. Chris Waller's star mare Via Sistina is now officially ranked the world's top racehorse, I should say. Timeform has given the mare a provisional 132 rating for her phenomenal Cox Plate victory. It puts Via Sistina behind Hall of Fame champions Black Caviar and Winx as the highest rated mares in the all-time rankings. She is the #1 ranked horse in the world, ahead of star Irish 3-year-old City of Troy. Congratulations to that man there as well, James McDonald. His incredible victory with the mare last week brought up his 100th Group 1 victory in style.
Now, 3-time Group 1 winner Militarised returning to the track.
Yeah, surprise announcement from Newgate Farm around their star stallion. Fertility problems means he'll be gelded, but good news for the punters, he's coming back to the track. Militarised was the joint champion 2-year-old in 2022-23, having won the Sire Produce Stakes, Champion Stakes and the Golden Rose. To date, he has won almost $2.6 million in prize money. I imagine this is disappointing for Newgate, but great to hear that this fan favourite will be back at the track. I had a few mates say this week I won a lot of money thanks to him, so they're looking forward to seeing him back in training.
Yeah, that was a great win in the Champagne. Now, a change in direction for broadsiding?
Yeah, Godolphin trainer James Cummings revealed this week that his star colt broadsiding will head to Champions Day and not the Derby as expected. Of course, it comes after broadsiding finished 3rd in the Cox Plate. weight. The Golden Rose winner will instead target middle distance races such as the Champions Mile or Champions Stakes. It means James McDonald will now ride King of Thunder, I should say, in the Derby.
And an update from Les with Celestial Legend.
Yeah, unfortunately, Celestial Legend, who I just adore, won't line up in this week's Golden Eagle nor head to Hong Kong as planned. Speaking earlier this week, trainer Les Bridge said he just didn't think his Group 1 winner, I should say, was right. We now know the Big Grey has a minor bone bruise in the foot, which requires up to 3 months off. All things going well, the Guineas and Doncaster winner will be back for the Autumn Carnival. No doubt he will get the very best of care, and we certainly hope to see him back in action in 2025. Now, we also won't see Giga Kick back in Sydney for the remainder of the spring. He'll have 3 weeks between runs and then contest the Group 1 Champions Sprint in Flemington. He will then also have a break until the autumn. So fingers crossed we see those two back in action here in Sydney in the new year.
And think about it, of course, last year's Everest winner settling into his new home and life.
Oh, this is such a lovely story. The star sprinter is settling into life as a stock horse at the Hunter Valley property of Sam Clipperton. The pair, of course, teamed up to win last year's Everest and have a long and close association. Sam shared these photos that you can see there on the big screen on social media this week, saying, "Once the fastest horse in the land, now putting his name in the hat as the happiest." We wish them both well in their new chapter in life.
Absolutely,
together.
and quite a bit of news about. Thank you, Julie. Now, one of the things we often talk about here on Racing Dreams is the wonderful history of the sport. Racing New South Wales is a great way of honouring the past, like last week with the running of the Calendar Presnell Stakes. We caught up with Kenny for Racing Dreams. Take a look.
Prost the inside at Just Party. Prost, Just Party lunges. Just fell short, I'd say. Give it to Prost, a nose on the line to Just Party.
So, Kenny, a real honour having a race named after you?
It was terrific. You don't look for glory like that, but particularly for it to be called the Calendar Presnell with me good mate Max Presnell. Good fella Max, and you know, we've known each other for over 60 years. It's a bloody long time.
Absolutely. And you tipped the winner. I was on a no, but you actually tipped the winner.
Well, I shouldn't take too much credit because I don't tip a lot of winners, but I did tip Prost, and I tipped it to a few in my family, and we all had a nice little win.
All right, well, let's wind the clock back. I spoke to your great mate Johnny Tapp a few weeks ago, and we looked in the rearview mirror at some of the wonderful races and horses of the past. What about Kingston Town? Because I know, Kenny, Kingston Town was a horse that stood out for so many people, and you're one of them. Yeah,
well, Kingston Town become what I call a people's horse. If you walk down the street and you said that someone said, "Oh, you go to the races, have you seen Kingston Town?" It got that way with Winx later on. And probably back in the day when before we were born, horses like Farlow. But I can remember so many of Kingston Town's wins, but the one that really stands out to me is when he won the Sydney Cup as a 3-year-old, and he sprinted twice in the race. He went around them to share the lead, and then when Malcolm Johnston said, "Let's go, boy," he went again. And he won very easily.
Kingston Town is going to win the Sydney Cup in a walk. He's 5 lengths in front coming to the line.
He was a great horse, and he suited Malcolm Johnston's style of riding. He was a big part of that success.
Oh, the miracle. He's
the miracle man.
He's sensational. So you mentioned Winx. Was there a particular race, the Mighty Mare? When we started this show, Racing Dreams, it was right in the middle of her dominance of the game.
33 in a row. It's incredible, isn't it?
Was there one?
Yeah, the last one. Because you knew it was going to be the last one, and you don't always get a happy ending. And I thought, and I remember when they had Lonro Day at Randwick once, and he got beaten in his last race by Grand Army, and two great horses, but it spoilt the party.
It's Grand Army in front. Lonro can't get near him, and Grand Army spoils the Lonro party.
With Winx, she said, "Oh, please let her win today." And the Mighty Mare was mighty.
What a racehorse. And now, what about the Golden Eagle? A number of years ago, we've said this a few times, you get to Epsom Day and the curtains had come down on Sydney, but now this spring goes on for a long time. Golden Eagle Day today, we've got the big dance on Tuesday. A race for 4-year-olds, won by a Japanese horse last year.
And a Japanese horse is favoured again this year. and it'll be very, very hard to beat looking at her form. She's a filly. Sydney racing is now alive in the springtime, and we've got to take a hat off to PBL, Peter V'landys. He was the driver, and instead of it finishing the first week of October, as you just said, Tim, we go into races like the Everest and the Golden Eagle, super races. Instead of people looking to Melbourne, there's something in Sydney, and I think that was what we had on Everest Day. Not only was it Caulfield Cup Day, it was Everest Day. And it's good for racing because everybody's talking racing, everybody's betting, and whether some people want to admit it or not, racing is driven by the gambling dollar. They pay the piper.
And but you also get the magic of Sweet Caroline. I was out there, and obviously you and I covered a lot of sport in various capacities, but great atmosphere when they're all just singing, and that gives racing a real injection as well.
A lady came over from New Zealand. They're starting their first slot race called the Kiwi in the new year, and they sent her over to try and pick up a few hints from Everest. And she walked up the tunnel just as they were starting Sweet Caroline, and I read a report that she wrote, and she said, I was just gobsmacked. We've got to try and do something like that where the whole crowd comes as one. It's beautiful, isn't it? They're not singing the national anthem or something that everyone loves, but you're not stiff. You're letting your hair down and letting it go. Sweet Caroline, perfect song.
Absolutely. And finally, Kenny, the love of this game, it's been in your veins for 60 odd years. What about the thoroughbred, the great equine athlete that they are?
I was asked the other day what got me interested in racing, and I thought back to when I was 6 or 7 years old. I said the money, people collecting the money, and it was probably right. But as it become a passion with me, you can't but help but love the horse. And the traditions of racing, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. Had to get around that. I'm a bit of a traditionalist in my own way, but I still think you've got to go forward. Progress is everything. I love the thoroughbred animal. I love the racing game. I love every aspect of it.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. A very special day today, Timmy. Of course, it is the Golden Eagle. We'll head west for racing at beautiful Rosehill Gardens. And in 2019, champion jockey Glenn Boss and the Chris Waller-trained Colding swooped to take the inaugural Golden Eagle.
And the great man Bossy joins us this morning. How are you, mate?
Good morning to you both. You well?
We
Absolutely.
are well, Bossy. This time in 2019, if we rewind the clock, leading into the first ever Golden Eagle, what did you make of this race? Did you think it would become what we're seeing it is today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, Rosehill obviously has the Golden Slipper, but now they've got an even bigger event, the Golden Eagle, big prize money, and this year has assembled a really, really strong field.
You had to weave a little bit of Bossy magic into this one. Tell us how you did it on Colding back in 2019. I can't believe it's 5 years ago. I think I saw you 2 days before the race, and it seems like yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he was flying at the time. He come off winning the Epsom, and then he had a barrier trial in between it, as Chris Waller does, had him cherry ripe on the day. He drew well, but then I ended up following Brutal, who I thought would take me into the race, and Brutal ended up being like a Woolworths trolley. He was all over the place in front of me. And I had to dodge and weave, but I was lucky that I had a really good horse underneath me, and he had a very good turn of speed. So when I let him go, it looked spectacular, but he had amazing turn of speed, that horse.
What do you think's so appealing about this race, Bossy, as well? We know Racing New South Wales has been really creative with its concepts. Why do you think this particular one has really captured the imagination?
I think, you know, there's a few factors. It's got big prize money, there's no doubt. It's 4-year-olds, limited to 4-year-olds, and it's over a very good distance, 1,500 metres. But then you also have this massive charity aspect to the whole thing. You know, a charity is going to walk away with a lot of money today. So that's really sort of captured people's imaginations. And I think getting out to Rosehill, like I said before, they had their slipper, but now they've got another really big event the West can own.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the field because there are a couple of Japanese runners well liked. We've got William Haggis with a horse in the field, and it is garnering a huge amount of international attention. I think because of what you just mentioned, it is a race for 4-year-olds, and really there was nothing quite like it, particularly on our landscape.
No, so Japanese have brought a couple of over, like you say. Ascoli Pacino looks like a very, very good horse from Japan. All indications are that she's better performed than last year's winner, who was spectacular. So, if she can bring, she's a 3-year-old filly. You've got to remember. So, but obviously on their time, but she's a 4-year-old here in the Southern Hemisphere. So, big job to come over here and try and take this prize money. I'm pretty confident the big money will start to come from Jolie Star. Her run in the Everest was spectacular. She's on a home track. She's at a good distance, and she's getting to the distance which she loves. So I think the big money will come for her.
I know I asked you this earlier in the week, Bossy, but what is it about this distance, this track at Rose Hill? Plus, you've got a field of 20. It's at capacity field.
Yeah, it'll be spectacular because when you get these big fields, Snooky, it generates a lot of speed into these races because obviously there's, you know, like you've got Ascoli Pacino, which is drawn wide. What do they do with that? I mean, I don't know where they're going to go with that. It could be wide, so it's going to have to be very good. But like I said, it makes for a really good contest with a big field.
Looking forward to the Russell Balding today and Bella Nipotina. It's our tipping comp, our little tipping comp here. Julie's gone for Bella Nipotina. I've gone for Sunshine in Paris, and that could just decide who manages to get the silverware internally here on Racing Dreams. It's a cracking sprint race.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's a big bonus for Bella Nipotina if she wins there. I believe it's $1 million bonus if she wins on top of the prize money already available. So, listen, I think Snooky's in the right camp there. If you're going to go to war, there's one horse you want to take with you, and that's Bella Nipotina. She is an unbelievable warrior. So, you know, everyone's going to say, oh, she went hard and she did it tough in the Everest, but that's what she does. She's just a tough man. She just keeps turning up. If you look at her record, it's unbelievable. She earned nearly $18.5 million already. So, Snooky, I think you've got a safe bet there.
Oh, I'm so nervous.
I'm glad you said that. I love it. And it's come from a Broncos supporter as well. How are you guys going to go next year? The Broncos, you've got to change of coach, change of attitude maybe. Like, I mean, we have to go back a year and you almost won a grand final.
Yeah, the boys up there, there's a bit of turmoil, I believe. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year. My little mate won't be out on the paddock anymore, little Alfie. So, it's sad. You know, Kevy is a great mate of mine, and I was sad to see him. He's got the boot. But watch this space, I suppose, for the Broncos.
Well, before we let you go, Bossy, I know you've been back and forth all over the country with the racing carnivals this year. The Everest, nearly 50,000 punters we got at Royal Randwick for that one. What did you make? What have you made of this carnival? You've won the Everest, you've won the Golden Eagle. It's just grown, so it's beyond expectation. Yeah, you run out of superlatives to describe the event now. It's just growing and growing, and I take my hat off to Racing New South Wales and the ATC because everyone's got behind this event. I was there as a race fan, and I truly enjoyed the day. So. Congratulations to everyone involved there. Yeah, I think we can say the one word 3 times. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Bossy. Good to chat. That's right. All right, have a great day. Thanks, Bossy. Love your work. The prize money from today's Golden Eagle is life-changing, but not just for the connections of this 20-horse field. Yeah, $1 million will be donated to charities linked to each of the horses in the race. Great Britain's Lake Forest today represents the Ricky Stewart Foundation. I caught up with Ricky to find out just what this type of support means.
Everything off the foundation comes from our daughter Emma. She was diagnosed at around the age of 11 or 12. She was first diagnosed as being globally development delayed, and then the diagnosis moved into being severely autistic. Right throughout our journey with Emma, we've just found bits and pieces that have worked and that haven't worked, and one of the biggest things was firstly with autism was awareness, and secondly was respite. We created the foundation through some friends and a lot of mates here in Canberra, The first thing we did was go to the ACT government and look at getting securing some land, and then through fundraising, some very generous people here in Canberra and my friends throughout Sydney and whatnot, raised enough money to be able to build a respite home, and now we've built 2, and we've got a block of land now in South Yarrabomba in New South Wales, and that was gifted to us by a village building company, and now we're looking at a grant from the New South Wales government to build a 5-bedroom home for independent living for young adults with disabilities. It's all come off the back of what's worked for Emma, and the respite has been wonderful for Emma, and the carers and the respite that we've had to give us the opportunity to spend some time with our other siblings. We thought we wanted to help other families enjoy what we knew worked when you're living with a child with a disability. If you can remember, Julie, when you first moved out of home, I remember you kick your heels together and you think you got a little bit of independence and freedom. Well, that's what Emma's got now. It was an unbelievable experience just seeing her so happy, and that's what we want to provide for other families. The awareness of autism to the younger children in the education system today through schools, and actually helping them understand what and how an autistic child lives, and how you best communicate with those people. So those young children, they've got a mind of their own. They may look a little bit different, but they all think the same. And it's something that it's deep in our heart as a foundation that we want to put into the education system here. We're going to have a pilot program in Canberra. It's something that we're very passionate about in wanting to keep promoting through the education system to the young children today. So this generation comes through with the understanding of how young children with autism live and think and live their lives. For me, the awareness is as important as raising money. I don't feel comfortable in asking people for money or whatnot, but the generosity of people have actually created the success of this foundation. This concept that New South Wales Racing has come up with, one, given the ability for foundations, charities to earn some money through a wonderful idea with this concept. But 2, it's just the awareness side of it as well, especially with our foundation in regards to autism. It is such a common thing for children today, growing up with autism, growing up with some type of, we're on some part of the spectrum, and the awareness of it helps the younger children today at school understand it, want to communicate better with children who are living with autism, and it stops the bullying. And that's the one thing that, for me, I'm so strong about, is the bullying these children at school. As soon as I found out about Lakes Forest, I jumped straight into the form, and it was quite a coincidence actually with the young jockey Kieran who's riding it. He's very good friends with Ryan Sutton, who was here at the Raiders for a number of years, and also with our new recruit Morgan Smithies. He's good mates with Morgan. The 3 of them, all boys from Wigan. So there's a little bit of a connection there, and we've had some success with the English boys out here, so let's hope we get a little bit of success with an English horse. More than likely for us it'll go towards our education program that we're building. That would be where the money for us would be going into helping others understand what it's like for a young child to be living a life with autism.
Good to have your company, Racing Dreams.
This is welcome back. Welcome back. I'm all over the place. It's our tipping competition. It is the last week of our tipping competition. I'm a little bit rattled because a lot is on the line. So let's welcome into the studio now the wonderful Mark Russell from Racing New South Wales. Lovely to see you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. I like that.
Well, you are wonderful.
and Shano Cass, how are you, Shano, from the Daily Telegraph?
Morning, everybody. Well done, Julie. El Castello last week has put you right there on Timmy's heels.
Oh, I'm so nervous. We've been talking about
this. Well, you two guys are together. You're both there. So we're going to have a look at the state of play very soon. It's a very narrow. It's a bit like the US election, really, in many ways. I do want to ask you about the Golden Eagle. Of course, you work for Racing New South Wales. Yep. Great innovation. We spoke to Glenn Boss earlier in the program. First winner on Colding. The international interest is huge. William Haggis has got a horse, a couple of Japanese horses, a Japanese winner last year.
And the charity aspect, as we've hit on with Ricky Stewart, and it's just fantastic. Like, I'm thinking that race, there's going to be 10 across the track with 100 to go. It's just, you won't know where to look. And it's like the Everest, hasn't it just exploded so quickly, these races? So
who do you like in the Eagle?
I like the French horse. I've seen a few videos. I think she's untapped yet, so we'll see, won't we?
What about you, Shano? Because we've got a capacity field 20 out there at Rose Hill. The international contenders we've been talking a lot about, obviously, but also we've got just a great representation locally. What are your takes on this one?
Well, when I was looking at the field, when the acceptances came out on Wednesday, what changed so much was the barrier draw, I think, had a real impact on the race, or certainly from a form point of view, because a lot of the favoured horses actually drew pretty wide. Now, obviously, 1,500 at Rose Hill, it's a pretty fair start. It's not the Randwick Mile, but it's not a disaster either if you draw wide, as sort of Glenn Boss was saying earlier before. But look, I'm with Brass. I thought this French horse is absolutely outstanding. It's a 6 out of 6.
Can you pronounce it?
Lazat. I can't pronounce the Japanese horses, but I know Lazat. But it's a 6 out of 6. It's gone from a maiden to a Group 1 winner in those 6 starts. It's unbeaten at 1,500. And that win that Brass is talking about that I watched in France, the Prix Maurice Geist, I mean, that's a fair income Group 1. And this horse just left them standing. So that's not to take anything away from the Japanese horses, because if you go through the record of Japanese horses that have come down to Australia, they've basically won more than they've lost. They won Melbourne Cup, Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup, Golden Eagle. So they are a pretty superior horse to what we've got to offer. But in saying that, you know, we've got some Jolie Stars in the race, NCAP. You know, it's going to be a fantastic race.
Well, also a fantastic race is our tipping comp. So, Shane, who are you with this week? There's a lot of pressure on you and I this week.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to hit one out of the park. I've got a 20-1 shot in the Four Pillars, which is a $500,000 race today for the provincial horses. This mare's from Kembla. She's only had the 10 starts for 3 wins and 5 placings, so she's ultra reliable. That's her in the sort of green colours there, 2 off the outside, 2 from the outside, just charging past them. She's very reliable. She's really honest. I think she's got a great draw. And as I mentioned in the Golden Eagle, it's the same story in the Four Pillars. A lot of the good chances are drawn way off the track, and she's in 8, so I think she's going to get the good run. The others might not.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mark, what about you?
Well, you go through the point score. I can't win.
But you can't lose. Well, and you lost last year.
Yeah, well, I tailed off last year. I think Jared's going to tail off this year, but call me a wuss, but I'm going for an Omen tip, believe it or not. Have a look at this. State of America, race 3 at Rose Hill. If that's not the Omen tip of the year, there it is, just powering away here at Randwick.
Yep.
Now, the horse in the green and black that runs second, he comes out and wins at Hawkesbury. And the third horse, its previous start had got beaten half a length by El Costello. So the form around this fella's fantastic. So, yeah, give me my handbag back, but I'm going for an Omen tip today. State of America.
Well, Julie and I, look, we're taking it right to the line today. We're going against each other to see who's going to win in the Russell Balding. Julie, first, you've gone for the $2.10 favourite and Bella Nipotina.
I took a leaf out of the Gilbert book and I've gone with Bella Nipotina because my competitive streak has come out. I am so close to winning the first competition in my life. I'm hoping the Everest winner can back it up, not only get the sprint bonus, but get me across the line as well. So I am with Bella Nipotina in the Russell Balding Stakes today.
OK, well, I went with Sunshine in Paris in the Everest, and you could see her coming in number 7. This is the Scirocco, which she came down the outside and won. And, of course, the bottom line is with Sunshine in Paris, she did beat Jolie Star. So, look, it's 1,300. It's another 100. So that's where I'm banking on Sunshine in Paris getting the chocolates today at Rose Hill Gardens.
All right, let's see who our other punters have gone with. Kirsten Duke is with Celestial Breeze, race 3 at Newcastle. Nick Burney, he's gone with the Japanese horse Ascoli Pisenko in the Golden Eagle. Julianne Horseman from Kembla Grange is with Ambassadorial, race 3, number 5 at Rose Hill. Jared Croker, he's gone with Tom Kitten in race 8, also at Rose Hill.
But for Jared, it doesn't really matter too much because he can't do much from here. He had so many great wins, such a great goal kicker. But his tipping hasn't been his strong suit. He can only finish on 8, which, of course, if you're any mathematician will work out that he can't get to 9.
I actually, speaking to Ricky Stewart, of course, of the Raiders earlier this week, I asked him about Jared's ability at tipping. This is what he had to say.
He would be like my football tipping competition. If you're going to follow Jared or myself with our tips, you're not going to make a lot of money. And I'm sure, don't worry, and I'm still silly enough to keep asking Jared every Saturday, have you got any mail, mate?
All right, well, things can turn around. I don't want to be critical of people because...
Jared, I've been there, done that. I finished last in the autumn. I've learnt a little bit on midfield. And Jared, good luck to you, mate. We'll present you with a wooden spoon, the green and blue colours of Canberra Raiders.
The Viking clap and the wooden spoon. Before we let you go, Shano, let's just quickly head back to today's racing. The Golden Eagle, as we've said, we've got the internationals, big field. Kieran Maher, he's also plotting his Golden Eagle victory. It's hard to look past the training performance of Kieran Maher at the moment.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying, isn't he, Kieran? He's winning everything alongside Chris Waller as well. I'm expecting Chris Waller to have the next couple of days are going to be obviously massive for him, but so too Kieran Maher because he's got some favoured runners in the Big Dance, which is on Tuesday. But as I said before, the Big Dance got a real shake-up after the barrier draw on Friday, so it's going to be a great race. There's 20-odd horses in that over the Randwick Mile. But just on today, it would be great to see Bella Nipotina win. She should be hard to beat when you think she drew 12 of 12 at an Everest and sat 3 wide and won, and now she's got 4 over 1,300 at Rose Hill, which is a distance that she's won at before. But I should mention Private Eye. He won the Winners' Stakes, which was the Russell Balding 2 years ago. She won it last year. So this is, the 2 winners of the same race going head to head, on a really good track today. It's
that's of course the Russell Balding. But let's have a look, and I might ask you about Sunshine in Paris in just a tick because I want to get some sort of extra enthusiasm in and around that. But the Golden Eagle, of course, Brett Devine said earlier in the program, this could be the race of the spring. You and Mark are both the same. You've gone with the French horse, Lazat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to win Group 1s, by big margins, you have to be a pretty good horse. But this horse has never been beaten. And I read a story this week with the trainer saying that he doesn't know what the ceiling is with this horse. He doesn't think he's reached it yet. And, if that's the case, I'm not saying this horse is Frankel. He's not going to go on and win 16 out of 16. But it hasn't been beaten yet. It hasn't looked like being beaten. It's a long way to come, of course, down here to Australia. But apparently the horse has settled in really well. The barrier's not terrible. He's got a good racing style. He'll be up sort of in the first 4 or 5, hopefully, as they swing around the turn. And as good as our horses are, this horse might be something really, really special.
Speaking of really special, the Japanese Raider is the hot favourite. Ascoli, Pasenko, we're all saying a different name here. But you also can't look past this form.
Yeah, well, as Bossy mentioned before, she's a 3-year-old sort of in her home country, 4-year-old by our time. So she's the best 3-year-old filly in Japan in that sort of classic around the mile sort of distance. And, they're very good horses, the Japanese. I mean, as I mentioned before, all of them that come down here, they all perform. They pick the right ones to come. And look, all the money's been for this horse. Apparently the Tab were reporting something like 60% of investments are all on this horse. There's been a $100,000 bet on this horse to win $500,000. So, provided it gets a good run, because it has drawn wide, but we've got to remember Joe Moreira, they don't call him the Magic Man for nothing. He's very familiar with Rose Hill these days. So, provided it's not bad luck that beats it, this horse just has to be in the finish.
It's only been going for 5 years. It's become quite the race, hasn't it, the Golden Eagle? And like we mentioned before, if you're anywhere in and around Sydney, get out there. It's going to be a cracking day. It has grown, hasn't it? It's quite a unique race in the sense that it's just for 4-year-olds.
Absolutely. And look, I mean, you could make the argument that when you're a 4-year-old, you could be actually at your peak, as a racehorse. And the form out of the race has been really good. Colding, Colette, they were good horses before they won it. They were better after. I'm Thunderstruck. He was a tremendous horse. The Japanese horse, Obama Maru. I mean, he's a good horse.
Obama Boomerang, I think that's close enough to it.
That is the one. And these horses that are coming down this year, I mean, I think this is the best field that we've had. And not just because of the locals. I haven't mentioned them very much, but I'm staggered at how good these imports are. They are world-class horses and will be doing well, I reckon, to finish on the podium.
Which says a lot about the race itself. The 4 pillars as well. What are your thoughts on the 4 pillars?
Yeah, look, I'd love to see my tip win so I can make some sort of challenge for the thing. But look, the 4 pillars, it could be life-changing for quite a few trainers, particularly Jack Pilkington, who's a Hawkesbury trainer. I think he's only got 2 or 3 in work. He's a very smart fella. He used to work for Mark Newnham as his foreman. Now, this Alabama State was his first runner. It was his first winner. And that was at the start of the year. And now he's racing for $500,000. He races in the the colours that Brass would know well. They're the Sir colours of Peter Horwitz, Juggler, Liverstone Elaine, some tremendous horses. But, this will change Jack Pilkington, not financially, that'll help, but just his reputation as a horseman. If it isn't already through the roof, it'll make some giant leaps today, because this is a really important race for a lot of trainers and a lot of owners, and it's a really good field too.
Let's get back to Sunshine in Paris. Of course, she's quite the filly, and if she can manage to get over the top of Bella Nipotina, there'll be quite a bit of yelling and screaming happening. I'm heading out to Rose Hill in just
tears.
a tear.
Yeah. Well, I know it doesn't always work this way, but my theory was if they couldn't beat her, the Everest horses, Bella Nipotina, this is in the Everest with the run she had 3 wide facing the breeze, then I don't know how they're going to turn the tables on her today, because when you look at the Everest, your horse there, Sunshine in Paris, down the outside, she looked like she was going to just charge over the top of them. That's when she did. But in the Everest, when she didn't, I thought she had every chance. So maybe the extra 100 is going to help her, but and it will help her, I'm sure of it. But Bella Nipotina, she's done everything. She's the Iron Lady. We keep saying when she can't win, she always does. So I'm in her corner today. But good luck to you, Timmy, but not that much.
Well said, James.
Yeah, don't worry. All's fair in love and war. Just so people know, you don't have something growing out of your right ear. That was just your earpiece that was just being a little bit unhelpful today. All right, good to talk to you, Shane, and we'll wrap it all up next week. Got one more show to go. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any sort of rough?
Well, Shane-o, I do have a book of Japanese translation, so I'll let you borrow that, and konnichiwa.
Very good.
Very good. Well, we'll bring some sushi out next week for dinner as well.
All right. Thank you, gents. Lovely to see you. Thank you, of course, to our sponsors, Racing New South Wales and RF Field. Wishing everyone all the best in tipping, all the best for today's Golden Eagle.
Yeah, have a great Golden Eagle Day. It's a cracking race, as I say. If you've got something to do today, get out to Rose Hill Gardens and enjoy it. See you later.
See you next week.